Hello, my name is Keith, and this is a series of videos about my understanding of everyday theology and how it informs our lives. If you like these videos, please subscribe on my YouTube channel. And as Halloween is coming close, I felt like I would go ahead and tell you this story about a situation that I was involved in. I was assigned as the interim director of the Navajo Mission to oversee the eviction of the Bureau of Indian Affairs Contract School from our United Methodist lands. My job was to begin the renovation of the buildings on the 100-acre campus and replace the school with something new. During the first 3 months, I maintained the facilities with a crew until the current academic term was completed. The summer was quiet then, with my family in the director's home and on the east end of the campus, and the maintenance director's home on the west end of the campus. I hired a small staff of workers to help care for the facilities, and I hired a security firm to help keep the place safe from vandalism. I then entered a cost-plus relationship with a local contractor to start renovations. The plans for the mission went into two different directions. Community agencies were vying for the use of the space as a one-stop shop of services for the local community. While these discussions were happening, the Navajo Nation itself entered negotiations with the General Board of Global Ministries of the United Methodist Church. The Navajo Preparatory School was to start in the fall. So here is the story within the story, and I was a witness to the following events and can vouch for their authenticity. When I first arrived at the mission, I was informed that anyone who serves as the director is cursed by the skinwalkers, the Navajo equivalent to Satanism. Every director who serves at the mission will have heart problems and their marriages will end in divorce. I laughed off these comments as childish imagination. As time went on, I did some research and heard the accounts of what happened to the previous directors. Not only did they verify the curse, but the stories also included people being pushed downstairs by an unseen force in the director's home, and a child of one of the directors drowned in the irrigation ditch in front of the house. Some say that he appears to warn others to stay away. My experience with unexplained events began with Dodge Hall, one of the residency dorms on campus. Our maintenance director noticed that the third-floor lights had come on. Since this was summer, there were no students on campus. All the buildings had been vacated and thoroughly secured. So I opened the dorm and we went in and turned the lights off. A few nights later, the night security guard awakened me to tell me that a strange glow was coming from Dodge Hall. All the doors had been locked, and they were still locked. We checked it out and found a burner that was turned on. This was enough of a safety concern for us to check the other buildings. We then found all the stoves in the dining hall were turned on. In the gymnasium, the fans were all running. At this point, the security guard quit, stating that he couldn't keep this place safe from ghosts. He was done. The campus is in front of a large mesa. The Farmington Airport is located on the mesa, and there's rubble around the edges at the top, but nothing ever comes down off the hill. We could see a huge concrete stone about 5.5 feet around. It was lying flat near the top. It was heavy and immovable. That stone somehow righted itself and rolled down the mesa. Without hitting a building, it rolled past Dodge Hall, traveled through the length of the campus, and then to the west end of the open property to the graveyard. As it passed through the graveyard, it didn't do any damage until it hit the center stone and flag. It twirled around and lay on the grave at the center stone. It happened to be the relative of the foreman that was doing the work of the renovation. After that, he did not return to work, and he was then located about 4 weeks later at a bar, sitting at a bar near Shiprock. The new school had begun classes in the fall. The contractor and I were standing on the second-story balcony of the administration building, overlooking the courtyard and the work that was being done, specifically at Dodge Hall. Students were moving from building to building for a busy day on campus, and one of our maintenance trucks was parked in gear in front of Dodge Hall. And as we stood there, we watched it turn 90 degrees and drive itself across the courtyard with no engine running. The students started running and screaming and crying. The truck drove as if someone was driving it, as it avoided sprinklers and trees. It then crashed into the only other parked vehicle on the other side of the courtyard. It was definitely an interesting story to tell when it came time to give the accident report. It's now been 33 years since I left the campus. I had a heart attack and a double bypass surgery. My first marriage failed actually while we were on campus. I attempted marriage again years later only to see it fail as well. I then, after that, decided not to marry again. It could be a coincidence, but there are many things we don't comprehend. They exist within the shadows of the circle. Demonic activity is very real in today's world. Instead of running in fear, we need to recognize their existence and face and rebuke it.